vision for 20 in the morning. Thinking of my little sister saying morning. Struggling with realities, no melodies. Holidays are the same, everything's changed. No Bowie, no Prince, and no Michael, no Andre Crouch and the Disciples. No Walter, Edwin, or Deborah Coley. No Whitney, no George Michael. Toys R Us gone bankrupt. Damn, they could toss it and went bankrupt. Everything from my childhood's missing, man. And I swear it's such a fucked up feeling, man. I'm not mad, it's a simple observation. And I'm not sad, but it's not a celebration. I'm just trying to put the pieces back together, man. Everything's falling through my fingers like sand. It seems the tighter that I'm gripping. It seems the more that I am slipping. I feel like I lost everything I love. And where's this the legend of God be love? And churches ain't the same. Gospel music just ain't the same. R&B it just ain't the same. But y'all keep telling me it's the same. But I ain't feeling nothing, damn it. And I don't wanna reach up and grab it. Shots fired, get to ducking. Always knew they were out to something. This ain't no future when you're frontin'. And y'all know you still out here, fool. I'm not a baby, bro, I'm grown. Don't leave me standing out here alone. That's why I wrote this song. Because I know I'm not alone. What are we out here doing? What are we out here saying? People don't care no more. So fuck it, I don't care no more. This is too much for you to handle. I was always too much to handle. There ain't nothing new about me. You don't want authenticity. You don't want sincerity. 2020 brought me clarity. Now I see who you really are. No mask wearing, mailbox wrecking, racist motherfucker. Let's go. Homie, you don't really want it. Sis, you don't really want it. I'm your nightmare opponent. Walking in a new anointing. Walking past all your bullets. Nothing in the trigger bullet. Try and pull it again. No weapon missed again. Tired of talking about changes. Tired of going through changes. Lie after lie. Lie after lie. Republicans and the Democrats. Prime ministers and bureaucrats. Senators and aristocrats. HBO and Cinemax. Still the babies in the cages. Babies dying in the cages. I ain't forgot about the cages. And if you did, then you're a racist. Calling it out like it is. Call it out like it is. We've been in law for a year. And we're heading for another year. Lights off for Cologne. High interest student loans. Living in a pandemic. Calculated and systemic. Start with black folks first. Kill that melanin first. Presses down and we pop up. Presses down and we pop back up. Speaking of getting it poppin', I heard you wanna get it poppin'. 400 years picked up. I guess you really wanna get picked up. We ain't playing with that ass. I'll get all up in that ass. Been doing right for too long. Time to sing a brand new song. Free at last. Free at last. Thank God Almighty. We're free at last. Free of all of your religion. All of your weird religion. All of your past decisions. All of your wicked intentions. It didn't work back then. Ain't gonna work now. We were people back then, but we get rowdy now. Let's get ready to rumble. Let's get ready to rumble. Sick of being here anyway. Can somebody shout, change? Change! Change! Change!
For the team, took a bullet for the dream that we would one day all be free, free from prejudice, free from sexism, free from bigotry. I die for creativity, yeah. I die for freedom to be destiny will manifest. Yes, oh,
You live in a different world.
Baby, I can't wait for the day when I can go ahead and upgrade my podcasting equipment to have a smoother sliding transition, pun intended, okay, in reference to the audio. But I hope all is well. What's going on, everybody? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's up, Queen Stevie? Hello, how are you? What is going on, Queen Spicy? Queen Spicy. We got Jerson in the building. What's going on? Why you loud when I'm about to clock in for work? But hey, I just feel compelled to go live when I go live. But you can always definitely catch the replay. And it's always good to have you in the building, Jerson. We got King Deshaun in the building. What's going on? I'm pretty sure we have people with their ears to the ground, girl. I'm glad y'all listening. That's what I want y'all to do more of, is listen. Stop talking the bullshit. Stop talking the hook shit. Stop talking the foolishness and the fear-based ideology. Stop projecting it onto other adults and to children. Okay? There is a generation that's rising up that wants to be free. Just like the song stated in the beginning of this live. Free of your religion. All of your mass decisions. People are self-actualizing. And if people consider themselves Christian and they read the book, especially the most important things, which is about the walk of Christ, they will see that that's the purpose of life, is to work out your own soul salvation. Okay? And that's what we're doing over here on BubzDaGawd. All right? I don't know about any place else, but on BubzDaGawd, we're doing that. Okay? But anyway, before we jump into today's live, let's do the smart thing. First of all, can y'all hear me clearly? Do I sound clear? Testing. 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me back there? There. Can you hear me? Let me know. Here we go, y'all. And again, this live is not sponsored, but influenced by Queen Stevie and Deshaun. They keep blowing me up, and I'm grateful for that. Because what's happening is that the queer phobia, unfortunately, is making it easier for me to do my job. It's so funny. These people say they have the information that queer people don't have, and meanwhile, they ain't make me sweat yet. Interesting. But anyway, boom. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay, great, y'all can hear me. So see, I got to put these videos up. Hold on, let me do it right now, because for some reason StreamYard like kicks me out sometimes, so it's kind of weird. But the first video, okay, that we're going to dive in today is in reference to one of the homeworks that I gave some of the real Gawds, the individuals who are on the right side of faith, of God, of humanity, of nature. They are the ones who are complete, whole, and even if they aren't complete and whole because of societal standards through religion, okay, inspired by religion, I have moral authority than you do because you are same-sex attracted. or you decide that you're born in the wrong body, or anything that is not heterosexual, these individuals have still failed to save a young black man's life and save him from going down a path that objectively queer people could never do what the trap culture is doing. Okay? As far as actually destroying lives. I did a live about a few months ago, I want to say, where we talked about little RT and how here it is, this young ass 9-year-old boy is explicitly talking about running niggas down and shooting them and murking them and fucking bitches in the throat and nutting down their throat, all this shit, to where he's got all this critical acclaim, Kai Cenat, streamer of the year, one of the most popular influencers in this culture at the moment in time, affirmed Lil RT. Going to act, y'all gonna see the clip I'm gonna put up. And again, if you want to see the clip as well for you to view it, okay, you can definitely click the link down below. And that's the actual title that they put on Snapchat. Okay, so when that happened, I issued to these men, like, if we're gonna talk about protecting the children, let's protect children across the board. So while you're over here talking about all the Lil Nas X's and the Saucy Santanas that y'all feel are so powerful to influence your child, meanwhile, there's a 9-year-old boy who is literally indoctrinating younger men to follow the status quo of toxic masculinity and patriarchy. And I know that word toxic ends up stressing y'all out because y'all look at it from a fear-based lens, but on the outside looking in, an individual who has been an unfortunate participant of toxic patriarchy, I'm telling y'all that what this little boy is doing, is far more dangerous than what Lil Nas X or Saucy Santana could ever do. So I gave them that homework, and still there was no live, there were no black men on these panels in the red pill community getting upset and angry and trying to figure out how to get to that little boy. Like, put in the work. Go talk to his mom, which we're going to see how his mom thinks, which is very interesting. And then if we're going to be all the way petty, at the end of the day, y'all love talking about the gay agenda, baby. Look at the heterosexual agenda, or the toxic viewpoint through heterosexuality. But anyway, we're going to get into that first video. The link for the video is in the description box below. Is y'all ready? Is y'all ready? Let's motherfucking get it. One second, let me change my music. And again, fair use doctrine is enacted. I'm not getting paid for this. This is community work, okay? And if you sue me, I say it all the time, your ass will just be practicing, okay? But let's take a listen to the most recent updates pertaining to little RT. Not only is little RT unfortunately perpetuating the violence and destruction against black people, regardless of sexuality, if you really want to talk about it, age, demographic, whatever. Now the little motherfucker is allegedly part of scamming. Now, let's take a listen.
Is getting exposed. He became famous for spitting gang.
Let me remove the thing, excuse me. Let me remove this real quick. Now let's watch.
9-year-old rapper is getting exposed. He became famous for spitting gangsta bars in his song 60 Miles.
Look, you can get the fuck up on my 100 round, hit him with the glove, take a down, 100 round.
And despite the song being a hit, making millions of dollars, his producer's now calling him out for claiming he was scammed and only got $100, which shocked everyone. He only paid me $100 up front, but owes me a percentage of the song, and now it has millions of streams. It gets even crazier, as he's also spilling the tea on Lil RT's mom, claiming she's exploiting him, making him do rap music that's toxic for kids.
Let's pay attention to that real quick. Can somebody please show me the videos of little gay feminine boys in a room like that with parents around, dressed to the motherfucking nines, girl. Talking about, I like that booty, 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 booty. Check out the nails. Please, if you have those videos, if they're circulating around, please let me know. I'm objective. I'm still a queer person, but I'm still objective. And I have real emotional awareness and intelligence. The fuck? Meanwhile, I don't see nobody on these red pill platforms having these conversations, and the only person who had a platform who really mentioned it, who is conservative, was our edgeless sister in Christ girl, Candace Owens. And a lot of black people don't even really fuck with her. So I just wanted to point that out. Let's continue.
And you won't believe what he dishes out about this kid being exposed to the dark side of the music biz. It'll leave you speechless. Ever since Lil RT burst on the rap scene, he caught everyone's attention, not just for the way he flashes his cash and rocks his diamond chains, but also for rapping like a grown-up straight from the hood. While this 9-year-old getting millions of fans is like nothing the hip-hop community's ever seen before, not everyone's getting into his gangsta style, because many think his hardcore lyrics, talking about guns and street violence, are just way too much for a kid his age.
This is a kid, he is holding dollar bills, talking about people. It's not funny.
Guess what? Even though he's just a kid, he's totally aware of the haters and can shut down critics like it's no big deal.
What do you want to say to her?
They all let me start talking about like
Okay. So we just heard out of his mouth. They need to be quiet. They always trying to stop my music. This little boy is literally talking about nutting down bitches' throats. About running up on his op and wetting him the fuck up like a wet t-shirt contest. Pause. We literally see a child in front of us in real time making millions of dollars like it just mentioned, girl. Millions of views. All type of social media influencers like Kai Cenat is over here affirming him, but then turned around and got mad at Lil Nas X because he claimed that Lil Nas X was mocking Christianity. But if there was a little gay boy or a trans person who knew who the fuck they were, really knew who they were, and were to be affirmed or wanted to be affirmed, y'all would have a fucking problem with that. And we're going to get into that much later in the live. But let's continue.
It wasn't until this rapper came out to expose him that he faced his biggest controversy yet. As it turns out, one of the song's producers, an up-and-coming rapper named Viff, spoke up about being cheated out of money for Lil RT's viral song. I got in contact with RT's mom and his new manager, who yelled at me disrespectfully and tried to tell me I own zero rights to the song, making sure that Lil RT, who's just a kid, isn't to blame, but
bitch, how the fuck I'm gonna sit up here and mix and master and do all the shit? This is my beat. I made this. I made this beat. Before your ass starts rapping on the beat, they hear my beat come in first, so they even know it's your ass. And if I made it, I should be getting some sort of residual from it. Now they're going to say later on in the clip that, yeah, unfortunately because of business ethics and manners, he missed out on that opportunity. We're going to get into the bigger picture down the road too, but here it is again. Another black young man has made something go viral that's his, that's getting all this attention, and he's not even reaping the benefits of it. And then you'll have some niggas that will sit there and tell him, well, you know, Wendy's hiring, McDonald's is hiring. Yes, they are. And for some of you niggas, I hope they give your ass a secret sauce in your goddamn Big Mac that some of you niggas don't need to be eating anyway. But listen, but now we get to the fact of now Lil RT's mom is like okay with it.
Rather, his mom, she is the one who scams other artists and lets the kid be exposed to the toxic side of the music industry. How are you allowing your 9-year-old child to be exposed to environments, for him to be around other than women and fans models for being media content? But it gets even crazier, because not only did he say that she is profiting from her own child for benefit, but this shocking picture of Lil RT at a club calling it disgusting.
Why does 9-year-old kid get more play than me? Again, equality across the board. If we all want to be triggered, let's all be triggered. I'm okay with it. People think that what I'm doing is deflecting. No, it's not. Because even when we do quote unquote focus on the situation the way that you want to focus on it, you still fail in application. You still fail with these basic elementary ass concepts. That is not the only concept, as we can obviously see. So again, if y'all gonna get mad at a young boy who is feminine, y'all need to also be equally or more so mad at this little boy, because this little boy is actually creating music that actually snatches away black men's lives. If it ain't the system with prison, it's other niggas killing each other. I just had my mom's friend that lives a few blocks over from me just called a few days ago to say that she was in her house and she was like, oh, well, something in her spirit said, go to the store and get some fire logs for a fireplace. Because she has a big grand fireplace. And she kept ignoring it, and then she just honored the feeling and left. When she came back home, there were police officers outside her house because somebody's young son got shot and murdered in her fucking driveway. And they didn't even cover the body up. She walked up and saw everything. Objectively speaking, intellectually speaking, factually speaking. What do you think incited the unaliving of that young boy? Was it music inspired by Saucy Santana and Lil Nas X and Dames and all the other queer rappers? Or do you think it was more so inspired by music that this 9-year-old boy is continuing to put out, that none of the real gods are opening up their mouth and utilizing their platforms and their outreach and their connection to God to stop that from happening to that little black boy? You can't save everyone, right? Well, you can at least save this one, and y'all failing at that. Let's continue.
To which Lil RT's mom only had to say this.
Texting. Keep my son name out your mouth. Don't tag him in. You talking about something you know about.
Here's the thing. While people show support to Lil RT's producer, the truth is, if they didn't negotiate that up front, sadly, he's probably not entitled to anything at all. But one thing is for sure.
But at the same time, that's what they do in the music industry that I'm trying to get people to understand, the bigger picture. Regardless if your ass is... That's why I say all the time, when it comes down to this system, blackness with slavery was the first, if you ask me, prototype of a slave ideology to control other people's aspect of life. They have now taken that blueprint and expounded on that to where they're profiting on every motherfucking body. I've done multiple lives about the music industry and how it's also played a big part in the detriment of the black community. But because I am a black man who is openly gay, all that shit gets swept out the door. Because how do we benefit, right? The black community. That's what I was asked. What can y'all do for us? Are y'all Stevie Wonder to the shit? Are y'all Ray Charles to the shit? Are y'all also Helen Keller to the shit too? Not only can you see, but you can't hear. And at least all those individuals grew in some sort of sense that was objective for everybody to see. And we still waiting on y'all to do that. Let me stop. Let's continue.
By making these claims, he's also exposing a dark side of the music industry that Lil RT should be part of. So what do you guys think? Is this drama gonna be resolved soon? And is Lil RT actually being taken care of properly?
Wow. We sitting over here arguing about dumb shit, yet the music industry is over here making millions of dollars off of black bodies. More so dead than alive. Nobody seems to care about that. I don't know if it's the fact of, and a part of me be thinking like this, I don't know if a lot of the older black community is just tired from trying to fight the system, because again, the 70s and 60s and 70s, came through, gave liberation, and then the 80s came through and fucked everything up. I don't know if the older generation instinctually through fear feels like they know that's finna come up. So I don't know if they're operating in the whole, well, if you can't beat them, join them type of mentality. But if we would have stayed in that place, we would have never escaped the slave plantation, because, you know, as stated by the iconic, may he always rest in power, Paul Mooney said, escaping slavery was not part of the plan at all. At all. Y'all still there? Because whenever I start talking like this, they don't want to hear this part. They don't want to listen to this part. Okay. So, to the gods who came through and tried to like troll in my chat and not really listen to understand, but just listen to respond and continue to speak ignorantly about things that they don't know nothing about. Yeah. Before y'all do anything, if you want to prove that you're a real god, if you want to prove the mentally ill wrong, if you want to show up as the elders that you so desperately want to be in reference to respect, and you want to emulate the great ones before you, I'm going to need for y'all to not only talk the talk, but walk the walk, okay? Pick the fupas up, crack the knees, and make sure they all limber and shit. And I need for y'all to get on y'all platforms, and every single one of y'all need to be doing a continuation and staying up to date, okay, with this little RT situation. And that's why I named the live the Accountability Live, because here's the thing. When you are accountable for yourself, then you have the objective right to help others be accountable, because now you can see. And the only way you're going to be able to see is to be informed. Knowledge is power. Our ancestors were murdered for trying to educate themselves. And I, over here on BubzDaGawd, intend forever and a day to continue to grow in knowledge, because if I don't, I'm actively failing the hopes and the dreams of my ancestors in reference to the manifestation of that. And yes, even an old dog can learn new tricks. And I hope to one day grow to become an old dog. But even when you do get older, you still grow, you still become better, and you're still learning, even from younger people. And how do they say? Once an adult and twice a child? Y'all might want to give children more credibility, for real, because some of y'all gonna be reduced, and we all low-key gonna be reduced back to an infancy state where we gonna need people to help take care of us. And speaking of accountability, because again over here on BubzDaGawd, we are also very objective. We also did a live where we spoke about a trans activist by the name of Kendall Stephens, who in December of last year was arrested on allegations, okay, and speculations of sexually assaulting children, 2 boys to be exact, which is why I'm surprised that these other red pill communities didn't really jump on this, because this seems to fit y'all narrative. So I went ahead and did a live and spoke about it and said that if she is in fact and indeed found guilty on those objectively, and she is judged by her peers, because everybody is innocent until proven guilty, right? Isn't that what it's supposed to be? That if that was to happen, she would have to be held accountable. And instead of talking and generalizing what these people do, and these people, and these people, and these people, let's start putting names to these people and then doing our work to see if it's true. And if it is objectively true, then we can deal with justice. But we're going to deal with a recent update, because again, this is about updates. And you can read along with me if you want to by clicking the link in the description box below that reads, Judge dismisses multiple criminal charges against Kendall Stephens. Let me go ahead and take a sip real quick, hold on, of water. I'll be right back, 1 second. All right, I'm back. And it reads, and this is from the PGN Philadelphia Gay News, okay? Kendall Stephens, a Philadelphia trans advocate accused of child sexual abuse, has been cleared of multiple criminal charges, but several serious charges still remain lodged against her. On February 6th, a preliminary hearing was held regarding allegations that Stephens raped 2 boys. Both alleged victims testified during the preliminary hearing. After the alleged victims testified, Common Pleas Judge Vincent W. Furlong dismissed most of the charges relating to one of the alleged victims, according to defense attorney Michael T. Van der Veen. The dismissed charges include rape, involuntary deviant sexual intercourse, unlawful contact with a minor, corruption of minors, and indecent assault, according to Van der Veen. However, multiple charges relating to both of the alleged victims were held for trial by Furlong, according to Brett Hambright, a spokesperson for the state attorney general's office. The charges held for court the charges held for court for one alleged victim are rape, involuntary deviant sexual intercourse, unlawful contact with a minor, endangering welfare of a child, corruption of minors, 2 counts, and indecent assault. For the other alleged victim, the charges held for court are dissemination of explicit material, corruption of minors, and endangering welfare of a child, according to Hambright. The preliminary hearing was held at Philadelphia Family Court. Observers weren't permitted inside the courtroom when the alleged victims testified. Lauren C. Eichenberger served as prosecutor during the hearing, according to court records. Van der Veen told PGN he's preparing for a jury trial, but he stopped short of ruling out the possibility of a plea agreement at some point in the future. He emphasized Stephens should be presumed innocent unless proven otherwise in a court of law. Quote, "We've entered a non-guilty plea at every court hearing we've had," Van der Veen told PGN. "My client professes her innocence and enjoys the presumption of innocence as well. I've seen a lot of people falsely accused of crimes. Sexual crimes against children are among the worst things to be accused of. It is the scarlet letter of our society today. I intend to vigorously defend my client against these charges," end quote. In Van der Veen's opinion, officials overcharged Stephens. Quote, "My client was overcharged," Van der Veen continued. "At the preliminary hearing, I argued for the dismissal of the charges against her because the Commonwealth didn't satisfy the elements of the relevant statutes. Judge Furlong, one of the fairest judges in the city, dismissed numerous charges for that reason." Hambright had no comment regarding Van der Veen's assertion that Stephens was overcharged. For her part, Stephens emphatically denies the allegations. Quote, "I vehemently deny these charges and deny ever hurting a child in any way." Stephens wrote online, "I applaud the preliminary hearing family court judge who dismissed almost half of the charges, including rape related to one of the alleged victims and other related charges." Deja Lynn Alvarez, a prominent trans advocate, recently posted a message on Facebook urging fairness for Stephens. Quote, "Jumping to conclusion without all the facts only perpetuates division within our communities," Alvarez wrote. "We've seen baseless accusations tearing us apart, particularly from certain extremist factions. Supporting our community doesn't equate to endorsing any harm." Read this part, listen. "Supporting our community doesn't equate to endorsing any harm, especially to children. It means we're discerning, not blindly following any extreme ideologies." Alvarez also added, "Standing by each other doesn't mean condoning wrongdoing. It signifies solidarity until evidence suggests otherwise. If we abandon our own out of fear of public perception, we betray our values. I'd rather show the courage to stand together even in challenging times than succumb to the fear of internal discord. Stephens, 37, remains free on bail. Prior to her December 18th arrest, she served on District Attorney Larry Krasner's LGBTQ advisory committee. So, I share the same sentiments, okay? Again, if Kendall Stephens, even though her charges was dismissed for one victim, okay, alleged victim, if this goes to court and it is proven and she is judged fairly, okay, not with any bias, but beyond a reasonable doubt, that she is guilty, and we can explicitly and objectively see it, just like Alvarez stated, when it is objectively there and the evidence supports it. If that is the case, she should be held accountable. But here's the dangerous thing about that. Just like over in Uganda and Ghana, all it takes is for one person to be found guilty of this, and then that blanketed perspective, fear-based ideology that is placed on trans people and queer people, they will see that small little quote-unquote victory as the winning of the war. And if that is how they feel, I challenge the heterosexual community to expose every queer person in the United States, girl, to prove it. It's the 1%. I mean, come on now. Again, y'all tell us we're the 1%. So if y'all can't objectively check the 1%, says a lot about the 99%, doesn't it? Now, anyway, we're going to shift gears again to more accountability in reference to trans teen next Benedict. Okay, I believe I did a live as well where I spoke on this in the beginning, where as you were reading the article, which again, both article links are in the description box below for you to read for yourself. Okay, do your own research. How an incident that happened at school in reference to bullying and physical altercation led to the death of Nex. But this article reads, okay, after the examiner's report, it comes to be concluded that trans teen Nex Benedict died by self-deletion, says medical examiner. An initial report from the chief medical examiner in Oklahoma cites toxicity from, and I'm gonna mess these names up, diphenhydramine and fluoxetine. Lord. Oklahoma teenager Nex Benedict died by self-deletion, according to an autopsy's report from the state's medical examiner's office released Wednesday. An early summary of the report indicated that the probable cause of death was the combined toxicity of diphenhydramine and fluoxetine, according to the New York Times. I'm gonna just say diphene and flow, okay? And flow, whatever. Di is an antihistamine found in allergy medications like Benadryl, while flu is an antidepressant medication commonly known as Prozac. The full toxicology report will be available on March 27th, according to local CBS affiliate KOTV. Benedict, whose friends say identified as transgender and used he/they pronouns, told his mother that he faced repeated bullying at school due to his gender identity, according to The Independent. On February 7th, Benedict and another trans student were involved in what Owasso Public Schools, called physical altercation in a statement. Nex's mother, Sue Benedict, told The Independent that during the fight, Benedict was attacked by 3 older girls, beaten so badly that bruises formed around his eyes, and he hit his head against the bathroom floor. Sue Benedict took Next to the Bailey Medical Center that day, where they were interviewed by Owasso Police Department officer Caleb Thompson. In body cam footage from that interview released on February 23rd, Next explains how he was jumped by 3 girls after he threw water on them for bullying him about the way he dressed. In the video, Officer Thompson can be heard explaining that Next could be found to be at fault for the incident since he started it. The following morning, Next collapsed at home and was taken back to Bailey Medical Center, where he was pronounced dead. He was laid to rest February 15th, escorted from the funeral home by members of Bikers Against Child Abuse, the Daily Beast reported. Benedict's death led to widespread outcry from queer groups who condemned the school's handling of the incident and demanded accountability for the subsequent tragedy. The public scrutiny led to the Department of Education to open a federal investigation into the matter earlier this month. The case has also drawn attention to the recent appointment of Libs of TikTok founder Chaya Reichik to a statewide library advisory board despite not living in Oklahoma, with parent groups urging the anti-queer influencer in an open letter to stay out of our state. And for anyone that's listening that is dealing with self-deletion ideations and you're in a crisis, you can call, text, or chat with a self-deletion and crisis lifeline operator at 988, or contact the crisis text line by texting TALK to 741741. Okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to get into the response from the queer community, because yes, objectively, it has been discovered that he unfortunately took his life. Next, unfortunately, took his life because of the constant bullying. Again, the body cam shows that Next said that he was bullied at school, and even when Next decided to somewhat stand up for himself, he was met with opposition, great opposition, to where again he had to be taken to the hospital. And being told that because he technically started it by throwing it, because the abuse went from verbal and Next decided to throw the water at the students for bullying him, that technically that could be seen as a form of a form of physical altercation, which requires that person to react in self-defense. Okay, so imagine being bullied at school, finally standing up for yourself, getting jumped, already on Prozac to deal with depression because you live in a world that's making a choice and that's being told by ignorant ass people that you are weird and this is what we do to weird people. Being told that, oh, you're going to get in trouble for that, technically, so you really can't do nothing about it. Of course, that can drive people to self-deletion. And a lot of us as queer people who were able to defeat the fear-based, ignorant thought perspectives and viewpoints from outside of us, where we were participating in demonizing ourselves because we had no healthy representation of that. Those of us who survived that, we understand what Next went through. And a lot of the queer community understands that. Whether it's black or outside of the black community, we understand that. So let's take a listen and read along, okay, to the next article, again, in the description box below, that reads, after self-deletion ruling in Next Benedict case, queer groups demand more answers. Nothing in this report changes the responsibility to keep our young people safe. And if anything, this is why queer people are trying to educate the youth about queerness so that queer youth don't have to go through this. Okay? After the Oklahoma Medical Examiner's Office released a report stating that trans 16-year-old Next Benedict died by self-deletion, queer advocates are continuing to call for an investigation into the circumstances of his death. An early summary of the report was released on Wednesday, stating that the probable cause of Benedict's death was a combination of a combined toxic cocktail, antihistamine found in Benadryl, and the antidepressant that is active in the drug Prozac. However, the full medical examiner's report will not be released until the 27th of this month, and I think we might come back to read that on live. Benedict, who used he/they pronouns, was reportedly beaten by 3 classmates on February 7th. In a body cam footage released by Owasso Police Department filmed in Benedict's hospital room, the teenager's mother, Sue, described a pattern of bullying her child had experienced, including name-calling and throwing of objects. Benedict was discharged from the hospital the same day and was pronounced dead the following morning after collapsing at home. Given the circumstances of his death and the limited information in the report summary, queer groups are loudly reiterating their calls for further information and accountability. In a statement, Nicole McPhee, the executive director of the queer advocacy organization Freedom Oklahoma, said that the report's, quote, offers for a second time only limited insight into a decision about possible cause of death for Next Benedict. We have said from the beginning that whether Next died as a result of the physical or emotional harm he was subjected to, our elected officials, our appointed State Board of Education, Owasso High School, and all of us failed Next in allowing for policies and rhetoric that created a regularly hostile environment for a kid just trying to live as his authentic self, McAfee said. Nothing in this report changes the responsibility to keep our young people safe. McAfee also reiterated Freedom Oklahoma's call for the immediate resignation of Oklahoma State Superintendent of Public Education Ryan Walters and State Library Advisory Board member and Libs of Tik-Tok creator Chaya Rychek, as well as any other policymaker who has and continues to contribute to Oklahoma's culture of anti-trans bigotry, end quote. Walter has been widely criticized for his outspoken views against so-called gender ideology, having voted for a rule that restricts schools from allowing students to change their gender marker on private student records. An open letter calling for his resignation has been signed by 350 local, state, and national organizations, per ABC News. Rychek previously targeted an OPS school in 2022, leading to the firing of a queer teacher, according to the Oklahoman. Oklahoma Representative Mauree Turner, who is the first publicly non-binary U.S. state lawmaker, posted to Instagram on Wednesday after the report was released, writing that, quote, whether or not it was self-deletion or homicide, the state absolutely is responsible for the death of Next Benedict. From Ryan Walters to school officials to members of the Oklahoma legislature, we failed Next and continue to fail students like Next when these leaders remain in power, Turner wrote, adding an asterisk to leaders to underscore their criticism. And I'm going to read to you what they also wrote in its entirety. Hold on, let me get one more sip of water, y'all. You know, weed kind of make your mouth dry a little bit. Hold on. All right, we're back. Okay, by now, you might have heard the news about the Oklahoma Medical Examiner determining Next Benedict's death as self-deletion. I was made aware this afternoon when I stepped out of the chamber, and a reporter told me immediately, followed by a request to speak on the news. So, I want to make sure I name Whether or not it was a self-deletion or homicide, the state of Oklahoma absolutely is responsible for the death of Next Benedict. From Ryan Walters to school officials to members of the Oklahoma legislature, we failed Next and continue to fail students like Next when these leaders remain in power. We also know that isolation is a tool of oppression. That is why they are continuously trying to do. That is what they are continuously trying to do. Isolate us, drive us out of the state, and throw a stone and wait for our deaths. Tomorrow at 1:30 p.m., there will be a march at the Oklahoma Capitol. I hope to see you there. Often in deep times of despair like this, I better understand the need for more community, especially at this time and at this place. And he talks about for more information about Next. Let me go back down here. We have a little bit more, y'all. This is going to be kind of lengthy. We got to read through this, okay? National queer organizations also reiterated the need for a more comprehensive look into Benedict's death. In a statement, GLAAD's president and CEO, Sarah Kate Ellis, said, "There is nothing in this one-page document to explain why the medical examiner checked the box. Next, Benedict's family and the entire state of Oklahoma deserve far more answers and accountability from those charged with keeping Next and all of youth safe," she said. All media reporting on Next's death and the behavior of public officials before, during, and after Next's death must continue to demand accountability from state leaders about how they are working to protect all youth from harm, and when they will stop their relentless attacks proven to cause harm, end quote. Kelly Robinson, president of the Human Rights Campaign, said in a statement that the organization reiterated its, quote, call for a full and complete investigation. After Next Benedict's death, an LGBTQ plus youth crisis hotline calls from Oklahoma increases 300%. 69% said they were specifically experiencing distress about the non-binary high school student's death. Quote, "We have heard from so many parents and students that this culture of bullying and harassment is both pervasive at Owasso public schools, and that many within the school had actual knowledge that it was occurring and took no steps to fix it," end quote, Robinson said. The Department of Education launched an investigation into OPS on March 1st in response to a letter from Robinson alleging that the district had violated Title IX by failing to respond to sex-based harassment. The circumstances leading up to Benedict's death are only a microcosm of an increasingly anti-queer climate in American schools. A recent analysis of FBI data by the Washington Post found that school hate crimes targeting queer people have, quote, more than quadrupled, end quote, in states with laws that restrict queer and trans students' rights. In 2019, the FBI recorded 145 instances of anti-queer hate crimes on K-12 and college campuses. While that number dipped in 2020 due to school closures, it has since skyrocketed to 215 instances reported in 2021 and 251 instances reported in 2022, a trend that falls in line with an explosive rise of anti-queer legislation. But you also don't have to take my word for it. You also don't have to take the articles down below, take their word for it in reference to the trans experience. We're going to listen again to another video that was uploaded by PsychedPerspectives. Shout out to them. And they're going to expound more that in Missouri, if I'm not mistaken. That's what's coming to my mind right now. They're going to say the actual place, but that there are laws being drafted and trying to be put in place that if students are to affirm. So again, we just read the articles with next. People saying that they were in the school and they actually saw the bullying. They experienced the bullying. They're in the school when you're not in the school. And they're seeing this. And that if they had competent teachers around who are about protecting all children and creating a safe space for children, because for some children, school is a safe space for them from their home. And because nobody was really trying to create a safe space for all children, including children like Nex. Nex ultimately, unfortunately, thought that taking his own life was the only sort of solution from this, because nobody in the school wasn't doing anything. But the video we're going to hear from Psych is that even if teachers try to intervene and affirm trans students and queer students, that they could possibly end up on the sex offenders registry list. I can't make this shit up. I'm just aware in my perspective, and I actually know how to put things together. I don't do it in no sloppy ass way. Now, yeah, I'm a stutter and do all that type of stuff because that's just part of who I am, baby. Moses was stuttering according to y'all book. Okay? These red pill platforms, they're not doing the work that the queer platforms are doing and that the women platforms are doing in reference to making all of this make sense. Once y'all start doing lives like these, not just getting around and having echo chambers about what y'all think and what y'all believe, but actually bring in the facts in the articles and actually proofread them and actually go through them to make sure that you're not actually speaking against yourself. Because a lot of times when these people use arguments against queer people, they actually fail because they don't actually have emotional awareness and intelligence for real to even see that the clips and everything that they use speaks against their own talking points. But anyway, let's get into psyched perspectives. Perspective. Let's get it.
What is going on, y'all? GeoFux here. And once again, I want to discuss anti-trans, anti-LGBTQ plus legislation that is being passed state to state. The recent one that I'm talking about today is happening in Missouri, the state of Missouri. A Missouri bill would put teachers who support trans kids on the sex offender registry. The bill would make it a Class E felony to use a trans student's correct pronouns and name. And this is what we mean by transphobia. Transphobia is literally the hatred of trans people, the dislike of trans people, discriminating and harassing trans people, denying.
And also, you can find the article links for what they're speaking about in this video on their platform as well. But I'm going to read one of them, okay? And this is not the one that I was looking at. I think this is the one, because they have a total of like 4 or 5. No, this is not the one. I believe. Is it this one? Let's see. I'm still looking. Hold on, because I want to read the actual article. Yes, this is from ABC News. Okay, this was published on March 5th. Okay, at 1:11. Come on, 111 Universe, God Source Universe Consciousness, and it reads: Missouri teachers who support a trans minor's social transition could face felony, be put on sex offender list under proposed bill. Social transitioning refers to changes in pronouns, name, clothing, or hairstyle. Social transitioning refers to changes in pronouns, name, clothing, or hairstyle. One more motherfucking time, and it's at the bottom of the screen on ABC News, girl. Social transitioning refers to changes in pronouns, name, clothing, or hairstyle. We just read about Next and what Next had to endure. A new Missouri bill would make it a felony offense for school teachers or counselors to support or contribute to the social transitioning of a transgendered minor. The proposed law would also have an offender be placed on the Sexual Offenders Registry. Social transitioning, as defined in House Bill 2885, is when an individual adopts a name, pronouns, and gender expression, such as clothing or a haircut, that does not match their assigned sex at birth. Wow. Damn. If a teacher or counselor provides support, regardless of whether the support is material, information, or other resources, they could be convicted of a Class E felony conviction, facing up to 4 years in prison or a fine up to $10,000, according to the Missouri Reviser of Statutes. The bill is in the early stages of consideration and is subject to amendments if it progresses through the state legislature. The bill's sponsor, Republican State Representative Jamie Gregg, told local news outlet KY3 the bill would likely apply to the inclusion of any LGBTQ related books or signs in the classroom. The bill, introduced in the Missouri House on Thursday, is the latest escalation of legislation targeting the queer community being seen across the state and country. Missouri has passed several anti-queer laws in recent years, including a transgendered sports ban and a gender-affirming youth medical care ban. According to the American Civil Liberties Union, there are currently 35 bills that would impact the queer community being considered by the Missouri legislature. Gregg told KY3 the bill was spurred by parents who are frustrated with things that kids are being taught in school. This is to put the social learning development of our children back into the hands of the parents, Gregg said. ABC News has reached out to Gregg's office for comment. Social transitioning allows young people to explore and play with how they want to express themselves, experts say. The kind of generally accepted consensus in the field for these prepubertal kids is that if they want to explore any of those things, that we let them while making sure they're doing it in a safe, supportive environment. Jack Turbin, a child and adolescent psychiatrist and professor of child and adolescent psychiatry at the University of California, San Francisco, said in a past interview with ABC News. Researchers have found that social transitioning had positive and immediate benefits on child development, with improvements in mood, self-esteem, and social and family relationships, as well as reduction in anxiety, according to a January 2023 article published in Revista Española de Salud Pública, or the Spanish Journal of Public Health. I'm so sorry for messing that up. A separate study from the Journal of Adult, I read too fast, y'all, and think too fast. A separate study from the Journal of Adolescent Health found that trans youth may have worse mental health outcomes if they're, quote, not protected from K-12 harassment based on gender identity. Did we not just read about Nex's story? Hello? It is the responsibility of clinicians to emphasize the importance of adolescents having safe and affirming social environments, the study read. Transgendered children make up an estimate 1.4% of the teen population between the ages of 13 and 17, according to a June 2022 data analysis from the UCLA School of Law. Promo, a LGBTQ advocacy organization in Missouri, said its telling that lawmakers are more worried about students' gender expression than the other issues facing Missouri schools, including teacher shortages and drops in educational performance. Quote, it's rather telling that someone would rather spend time increasing harm for children rather than ensuring that every single child in Missouri has access to education, that every single child in Missouri should have a safe and welcoming environment for their schools, end quote, said Robert Fisher, Promo's Director of Communications. So let's continue with PsychedPerspective's perspective.
Trans people of basic rights and freedoms, denying us the same opportunities that are given to cisgendered people. Okay, this is on them.us website, and we're going to get into it, and I'm going to talk a little more about it as well. So a new bill filed in Missouri House. Okay, this is at the state level. Okay, the state level, Missouri House, would place educators who support a trans youth social transition on the state sex offender registry. It appears to be the first anti-trans bill that would make it a sex crime to affirm a young person's gender. House Bill 2885 in Missouri was introduced on February 29th by Republican Representative Jamie Gregg, who has previously expressed strong anti-LGBTQ+ and anti-abortion stances, as the Los Angeles Blade notes. This legislation would make it a Class E felony for teachers or school counselors to provide students with support around social transition, regardless of whether the support is material, information, or other resources. The bill defines social transition as the process by which an individual adopts the name, pronouns, and gender expressions such as clothing or haircuts that match the individual's gender identity and not the gender assumed by the individual's sex at birth. So again, they don't want they kept trying to make it seem like it was about protecting the children, when in reality, they don't want trans people to exist.
And that is the unfortunate truth that I wish some people would just open up their mouth and just fucking say. Like, trying to sit up here and justify it through religion, sitting up here to try to justify it through quote-unquote nature, try to justify it through these other means just for us to show y'all to be the lived reality, to be the actual manifestation of what y'all are so afraid to believe. You don't want youth to understand that. Because again, us as individuals, well, some of us, we can remember our childhoods. And I didn't come out and walk in my truth until I was 18 in my first ever relationship. So I was a child who was hiding my sexuality. Meanwhile, my peers knew it was up, and they treated me and judged me accordingly. And according to society, we don't do that fag shit. So here we are, almost full circle again, trying to do something better, trying to be more inclusive, trying to be more loving, and actually facing the fear so that all aspects of humanity can grow. And here we are doing the same shit again. The same shit that some of y'all parents told y'all when y'all was younger. And the same shit that they parents told them when they was younger. Do y'all really want to continue the bullshit?
They don't want us to have rights. They don't want us to exist. They don't want us to live. They don't want us to thrive. They don't want us to have freedoms and justice and rights. How is a teacher respecting a student by calling them their preferred name or their pronouns? How is that being a sex offender? And notice how they're constantly trying to criminalize LGBTQ plus people. They're constantly trying to criminalize trans people. We are literally being put in the same category as actual child sexual predators, of child molesters, as rapists, for merely existing as who we are. And again, Your average sex offender is a cisgendered heterosexual white male and or a cisgendered male.
Oh. Cisgendered male. Those are males, us, males. But he said something. He said white males, yeah. But heterosexual males. So again, if we're going to play this game, let's really play the game. Because, baby, some of y'all uncles finna be exposed. Some of y'all cousins finna be exposed. Some of y'all brothers about to be exposed. Hell, some of y'all aunties about to be exposed. Some of y'all nieces about to be exposed, baby. Let's go ahead and do the why did I get married table scene, girl. Let's let it all out. I'm okay with that. Let's let it all out and see. Let's walk in the objective truth together. Because I want y'all to prove that BubzDaGawd is doing this shit. I want y'all to prove that I'm over here grooming. I want y'all to prove that I'm over here doing the shit that them gays do. You got to prove it, boo. Where's the burden of proof? For me. And for the other people in the comments. It should be easy. Again, we're the 1%.
Don't get me wrong, there are cisgendered women and there are cisgendered heterosexual women who are also predators, sexual abusers, rapists, and there are also LGBTQ plus people who can also be predators, rapists, and abusers. But that is not the entire demographic of the LGBTQ plus community. And again, yo, average child molester, rapist, serial killer, mass shooter is a cis male. It's a cisgendered heterosexual male and typically a cisgendered heterosexual white male. But again, there's no legislation being put into play to ban them from existing, to ban them from having rights and freedoms. Okay? So I'm going to keep going on with this as well. HB 2885 would mean that teachers convicted under the law could face a $10,000 fine. Mind you, teachers are among some of the most underpaid professions in the country. So how are they going to come up with a $10,000 fine simply because they decided to respect their student's name and pronouns? Additionally, they could be placed on Missouri's state sexual offender list as a Tier 1 offender. The tier currently includes people convicted of charges like non-penetrating sexual content, simple possession of child pornography, voyeurism of an unwilling victim, and public indecency, according to the Missouri State Highway Patrol, which maintains the registry. Tier 1 offenders have a 15-year registration requirement. How is somebody calling you by the name that you prefer to be called by the same as non-penetrating sexual content, or possession of child pornography, or voyeurism, or public indecency? How is that in the same realm?
And on top of that, are there some special kind of motherfucking Superman 3D glasses or something that y'all put on that y'all can see what we can't see? Queer people literally share their lived experience, and it's still being disregarded because we're seen as mentally ill, as freaks, as weirdos, as the others. And y'all can't prove it. But I think queer people need to start proving it. Like we already did. We already proven ourselves. We already showed what was going on. Now, the one thing I want the queer community to do is that we got to work on our own internal stuff as well. Because even that heteronormative stuff bleeds into the queer community. Because the last video that we did, or last live we did, when I used Sight's video, about how even for individuals who are trans and intersex, how there's a fetishization placed on them from people in the community and outside the community. It's a lot of fear-based, unhealed people going around doing shit to other people as opposed to working on their own soul salvation. And you don't have the right to do that to everybody. It's one thing to believe what you want to believe, but when you start creating laws out of fear, I want y'all to understand, spiritually speaking, you call that upon yourself as well. That's why Christ, the most important character in the book, probably maybe even more important than God, girl, because that is the only way to it. Already knew that y'all was going to be struggling to reach higher levels of awareness. So damn, at least at the basic, at least at the entry level, do these two things. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, body, spirit, soul, all of who you are, the totality of everything, and also the expression of God outside of itself as well, including people and experiences in your life that you may not even understand. Which is why the second law that he asked, which was to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Again, expressing your love for people outside of you, because whatever you put out, it comes back to you. So if y'all putting all that fear out, imagine what that fear is going to do to y'all and low-key us collectively. Let's continue.
Okay. As Truthout notes, given the Missouri sex offenders aren't permitted to be within 500 feet of any school building, the conviction could essentially end a teacher's career. And mind you, teachers already are underpaid, undervalued, and disrespected in this country.
That part.
Okay. Journalist Erin Reed noted in an X post, aka Twitter, regarding the bill that while she doesn't believe something like this could pass even in Missouri, it's worth noting as it's a rare we get new anti-trans bill that haven't been written before. Okay. And I'm going to go on and say it is very extreme move in a time where we have shortage of educators in our state. Missouri has a shortage of teachers. Aaron Shikora, Executive Director of GLO Center in Springfield, told local outlet KY3, quote, "We're not encouraging people to go into a career when we're talking about if they use the correct pronouns of a student, they're going to be labeled as a sex offender. That's not incentivizing anybody to want to be a teacher in Missouri." According to the ACLU, at least 35 anti-LGBTQ plus bills have already been introduced in Missouri in 2024. We're only 3 months in, y'all. And this is in Missouri, just the state of Missouri. Now think about all these other states that are also pushing to have anti-LGBTQ plus and anti-trans legislations passed through the state. Another proposed bill, HB 1650, would make it a felony for drag performers to perform anywhere accessible by a minor, effectively criminalizing drag in the state. The bill was introduced by MEGA, Make America Great Again Republican, Representative Mazzy Christensen. The next House hearing for HB 1650 is currently scheduled for today, Wednesday, March 6th. So, this is ridiculous, okay? And this is what the current bill has, okay? Now, mind you, they have been working on this since 2022, okay? And really, it goes back into the 2020 and as well, but I want to put this out. The current bill summary for this bill modifies provisions relating to gender assignment and treatment for children. Now, keep in mind, children cannot have any type of gender-affirming surgeries.
Thank you. Thank you.
The only way they are able to get a surgery typically is if they're 16 or older, and they have to have consent from their parent. So it can't just...
And they also have to go through some sort of psych evaluation to make sure that this is what they want to do, especially if it's some sort of SRS surgery. I need for y'all to please show us the videos, the overwhelming amount of evidence of children at large who are transitioning in reference to SRS. Where is it at? Where is it at? Where is it? It should be flooding the timelines. It should be flooding TikTok. It should be flooding Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Where is it at, people? It's happening in such abundance. Where is it? Oh, y'all act like y'all don't see it. We're the mentally ill ones, right? And y'all the ones that got the clear view, right? So help us see. Show us objectively. Where is it? And if I'm not mistaken, when we read the articles about Next Benedict, it never mentioned Next getting SRS or gender affirming care. Next was just dressing in the clothes that this society says that these gender or that these people wear, and decided to wear it. It felt comfortable in it. It felt complete in it. That was a child. And look at where that child is now. I just want y'all to just be open and honest at this point. Like, I don't even care if you call us all type of derogatory terms. I don't even care. I would probably respect y'all a lot more because now you let us see the true feeling. And that's all we want. But see, a lot of y'all are afraid to say that because when you do that, especially in this age that we're ushering ourselves into or being ushered into, you have to be accountable. But I want y'all to know that we know that y'all know that we know how y'all really feel.
Just be, hey, I'm 10 years old and I'm going to go get a surgery. It does not work like that. It has never worked like that. Okay, the act establishes the Missouri Save Adolescents from Experimentation, SAFE Act. Under this act, no physician or healthcare provider shall provide gender transition procedures to any minor or refer such minor to another healthcare provider for such procedures. Mind you, minors have not been able to get gender-affirming surgeries. Again, at the earliest, it's typically 16, and they still have to have consent and permission from their parents or their guardian. Okay? The prohibition shall not apply to services for minors born with medically verified disorders of sex development. Again, speaking from a personal note, I was born intersex. So it's really wild to me how people will be transphobic against trans people seeking gender-affirming hormones, gender-affirming medical care. But in the same breath, you forced us intersex people into getting procedures that we didn't consent to because we were children, infants, babies, and the medical establishments, along with our families and parents, made decisions on our behalf without our consent. Again, intersex people, I feel like more of us need to talk out loud about how we were treated and what we've gone through and what we've experienced, because we have a lot in common with transgender people or anyone who falls under the transgender umbrella. Okay? This prohibition shall not apply to services for minors born with medically verifiable disorders of sex development. So if you're intersex, a lot of times they will push you to getting on hormones and having procedures so you can appear to be cis and be in the cis binary of a man and woman, female and male. Okay? Treatment of any infection, injury, disease, or disorder caused or exacerbated by gender transition procedures, or procedures undertaken because the minor suffers from a condition that would place him or her or them in an imminent danger or death or impairment of a major bodily function unless surgery is performed. Any healthcare provider referring for or providing gender transition procedures for minors may be subject to discipline by his or her or their professional licensing board for unprofessional conduct. The provision of gender transition procedure to a minor in violation of this act shall be considered grounds for cause of action against the healthcare provider as described in the act. This act is very similar to HB 2649 in 2022, HB 2210 in 2020, provisions in SB 848 2020 and SB 842 2020, as well as HB 1721 2020 and HB 2051 2020. All of these are just the House bills that are being passed by the State House in Missouri. I will have additional information in the description box below. But I'm going to continue to talk about these things because people literally want to sit up here and play in our face, make it seem like, oh, we're just trying to protect the children. Meanwhile, you're also taking away rights and freedoms from consenting adults.
And it's always been, see how you looking right now? That's exactly how I'm looking at y'all, okay? And he low-key look like one of my exes. No shade. But, that is the truth. I mean, again, the 60s and the 70s, they use the same argument. The children, oh, they're coming for the kids, the children, oh, they're getting the children. And see, I think what the real gag is that unlike other people in history, we live in the information age where you can learn everything in a matter of seconds and how shit can become viral in a matter of seconds. And a lot of y'all's bullshit that y'all did in the past is starting to catch up with your motherfucking ass. Yeah, for those of you who believe that we're living in the time of revelations, you damn right. Revelations, it means something being revealed. You just thought in particular because your pastor and your deacon and your reverend and all them told you that it was going to be revealed in this way, when in actuality, again, God works in mysterious ways. Its thought is not our thoughts and vice versa, right? So now we're going to see a true, genuine revelation. And again, if y'all are walking on the right side of truth, why are y'all not proving the queer community wrong? We waiting on y'all to prove us wrong, and y'all fail at that. So now the children are being used again to remove the experiences of queer people. And like I told y'all, I don't know what the fuck is going to be coming up after this next election or what. Because just like the 60s and the 70s had its time of liberation and growth and humanity rising to a certain level and place where we can actually change, the 80s came through and fucked every oppressed groups of people up. And for these black red pill communities, I want you to understand that if they get rid of the queers, they're coming after your black ass next. Doesn't matter if you're in the Republican or not. They had niggas on the field and niggas in the house. At the end of the day, regardless of where you was still a nigga. Don't forget that, nigga. Let's continue.
Including trans adults. And then keep in mind, many of us who are trans adults were trans kids. Intersex kids become intersex adults. Okay? Yep. So it's just really wild how it's okay for the cis person to be a cis as a child and continue to live their life as a cis person as an adult. It's okay for the heterosexual to be heterosexual as a child and continue to be heterosexual as an adult. But a trans kid can't be a trans adult.
100 rounds. Nut up in the bitch throat. Take a nigga down. That's okay. We cool with that. That's cool. That's cool. That's smooth. Hey, that shit hot. That shit fire. Hey. A gay boy decides that he wants to dance to a song for Renaissance. In Vogue a little bit. Now it's ass whooping time.
Gay kid can't be a gay adult. Wow. And you want to talk about who's pushing an agenda. Okay. Again, more information about what's going on in Missouri as well as other anti-LGBTQ plus and anti-trans legislation that's being passed state to state, will be in the description box below. But I'm gonna go on and say it. It's an election season. It is a presidential election year. Typically, we have elections every 2 to 4 years, okay? And you gotta keep in mind, your local elections and your state elections are very important, and they arguably impact your life far more than who's elected president. So if you claim to be an LGBTQ plus ally, if you claim to care about LGBTQ plus people, if you care about trans people, you need to be voting locally and state as well as federally for people who are going to protect LGBTQ plus people, who are going to protect trans people. And this is not just LGBTQ plus and trans people. This is also being geared at women. Again, abortion access, reproductive health access, contraceptives, my body, my choice. They are going after all of us. They are stripping us all of our rights and freedoms. People need to wake up and realize this is serious, and this has been ongoing.
And I also want to say this too. This year, because I was an individual who, and I still kind of feel this way, until the political system is gutted from the inside out, it's two wings on the same fucking bird. Somebody got to cater to the people with money, and somebody got to cater to the people who don't have any or need some. Somebody got to cater to the individuals with privilege, and some got to cater to those who don't have any privilege or little privilege. And I think also, too, what we need to do is to the people that we're putting into office, we need to know who they are, and we need to see some sort of manifestation of what it is that they're promising us. Because even with the election year with Joe Biden and Trump, Biden made all these promises and still did not make the promises to the oppressed groups of people. So there's something that we also need to do, because if the political system is not honoring us, if every fucking 4 years it's a fight and it's a warfare for us to survive, just for us to not be able to goddamn survive, it comes to the point to where the people have the right to change the government. And y'all know what I mean by that. Because when those white people did that insurrection, the one thing that I can agree with it during that insurrection was the fact is that they understand that it's the people that make the country. The system's supposed to be working for the people, not vice versa. Even in the last live we did, where even Republicans were saying, we're not worried about the whole queer thing, okay? We're more so worried about inflation, rising healthcare costs. We're worried about those things, excuse me, that affect all of our lives. But I guess people have to see, because seeing also is believing. And I'm on this, and I be doing my lives to try to prevent hell from happening. Y'all deep down inside want it to happen. Y'all itching for it. Y'all just waiting for the green light. Waiting for the thumbs down. Excuse me. We see it over in Uganda. We see it in Ghana. And if we keep talking about this same shit, if my father and his father and his father and his father and his father is having the same fucking conversations with their damn sons, there needs to be a break. For some of y'all that's scared of queer people and stuff, y'all better be glad there are people in the world who are black sheeps, who come through and through their own self-actualization, help heal the whole motherfucking family tree. Somebody got to walk in their truth. A lot of us grew up in families where we didn't even know what the truth was, or was given a false identity that we believed to be true.
This is nothing new. We have to continue to fight for justice, freedoms, rights, equity, equality, resources. We have to fight for the right to the liberty and to pursuit of happiness for all people, not just cisgendered heterosexuals, not just cis men, not just white people, not just people who are able-bodied, not just for people who have money, who are considered rich or wealthy, but for all people. Information is in the description box below.
There's a lot of work that needs to be done, y'all. Some of you red pill, organized religion minded black people need to do your own work. The queer community needs to do its own work. Black people in general need to do their own work. It's kind of like studying for a test. Your teacher told you that the test that's going to be 80% of your fucking grade is in 3 weeks. I'm going to give you all the information that you need, even if your ass needs to stay after school. I'm willing to help y'all because I want to see y'all succeed. But I also want to challenge y'all because when you're challenged and you learn from it, you become better. And there are people who are studying to show themselves approved. And then there are some who are lollygagging, trying to copy off of other motherfuckers. Not even putting in the work. And then the day of the test comes. And that day is coming for us. To where we're going to see who really been studying, who really has studied to show themselves approved, and who has not. And BubzDaGawd is studying to show himself approved. Do I know everything? No. Will I know all things? No. But when I click the live button, I know what the fuck I be talking about. I don't get up here and talk about shit that I don't know. And if I am limited in knowledge, I'm also aware enough to say I'm ignorantly speaking, and I'm not beyond reproach, and I can be corrected when you are right. A change is coming, whether you want it to come or not. The gag is that that change also supports you. But in order for you to be inclusive, you gotta first be in love your damn self. And we know there's a lot of people out there who don't genuinely love themselves and will put up a veil or a face or a mask to prevent the truth from being seen. But I want you to understand, there are queer people in the world who also have gifts of discernment too. Who also has come to the realization that there is nothing that can separate us from the love of God, from the love of Source. And we don't give a damn what your fear-based pastors told y'all, deacons told y'all, reverends told y'all. You know, the same people y'all put y'all faith in instead of God into them, which is why they can continue to mess up and do real foul shit in the church and then preach about it because they actually doing it in secrecy. And then once the truth comes out, y'all still rock with them because, again, if the pastor falls, if the shepherd falls, then the flock is fucked up. It's time for the sheep to come into self-realization. Because Christ did it first. And just like it was stated in the video, and just like the forefathers, again, they did some fucked up shit, but a broken clock is right twice a day. One of those times of them being right was, again, the pursuit of liberty and happiness for all people. And if I'm not objectively hurting myself, if I'm not objectively hurting you, then why the fuck are you worried about what the fuck somebody else does? Whatever fear you have, you need to get into your own personal prayer closet and ask God why it's allowing this to happen. And move the fuck out of people's ways who want to live and be happy. We don't have to be miserable like some people. Okay? So if you can, please make sure you hit that like button, okay? Because it helps this channel to grow on the algorithms, okay? The truth is going to always find its way. I'm just learning how to be patient. And even if you do disagree, you can at least do your heavenly duty, your charitable duty of the day, by at least hitting the like button, okay? And if you like the vibe over here on BubzDaGawd and thinking outside the box in our own unique way, you can definitely hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit the notification bell so that you can stay up to date with all of my lives. Because again, I go live when I feel led to, unless I plan it with somebody else. But with me, I'm probably gonna be on the win with it when it hits me. And if you definitely like the vibe and you want to contribute, okay, to BubzDaGawd Ministries, let me stop. You can definitely hit that cash app at the bottom of the screen, $ BubzDaGawd. Doesn't matter what you send, we're grateful and we're appreciative of it, okay? So shout out to everybody that's in the live. I want the heterosexual community who's in opposition. First of all, I want you to, if you make it to this part, I'm so proud of y'all, because that's what endurance looks like. Queer people had to do it. Now it's y'all turn. No shade. It's just the trading of energies. No shade. Okay? But I also want you to take the time and look at the comment section in reference to the live. And I want you to read with Deshaun and Queen Stevie from their own experiences, from articles that have been shared, to do it for yourself. Don't just take BubzDaGawd word for it, even though y'all don't take it any damn way. Don't take my word for it, even though I know what I'm talking about. Don't take my word for it. Study for yourself and come up with your own objective conclusion. Okay? So going forward, all opinions about queerness and blackness that are ignorant as fuck will be checked. Okay? Again, if you're trying to get our quote-unquote blind spots, we're going to get y'all's. What's up, Auntie Deb? Shout out to you. You're going to have to catch the replay because I'm about to end this live. I'm hungry. Y'all probably heard my stomach growling. I'm about to eat the rest of this damn salad. I've been kind of eating healthy these past few weeks. So, you know. But anyway, thank y'all for rocking with me. And until next time, y'all. Peace.